Welcome to Dover International Speedway. We're back here with the SRL Cup Series. Today in the booth with me, once again, we got Jason Beckman. Jason, how are you doing today?
Doing fine and ready for an exciting day of racing here at Dover Motor Speedway, a 1-mile concrete oval known for its sharp banking, tight turns, and overall narrow surface.
Yeah, Dover is one of the more unique tracks, kind of compared to almost like a bigger Bristol with the concrete surface, which tends to make some unique racing, especially at this track.
Absolutely, those walls will come and get you fast too. Those right front tires as well, wearing out extremely easily on this concrete surface. Drivers will have to manage both speed and tire wear throughout the entire length of this race in order to give themselves a nice position towards the end.
Yeah, this track drives really unique as well with if you over push the car, especially on this on exit, kind of similar to like how we saw at USA International last week in these cars, you can really step this car out and really put yourself in a vulnerable spot coming out of turn two and turn four. So definitely something to look out for during the race.
Absolutely, as we watch the '08 of Malachi Drake make his way around the racing surface. Malachi taking a lower line, getting very close to that outside wall, the preferred lane obviously being the lower line at such a high banked, wide, but also narrow track like this. As we look at his onboard, that wall can sneak up on you very fast. You better watch that right front suspension, because one little tap can end your race.
Yeah, precise. Yeah, Jason, you talk about overstepping a car, and just like I said with the car getting loose out of the corner, you can easily get tight and hit that wall coming out of these exits and really tear up the right side of this car. And with the new damage model, iRacing has really started punishing you a lot more for hitting the walls a lot harder. So, just like I had talked about with the cars getting loose, you made a really good point with the wall sneaking up on you like that and giving you a really hard time.
No doubt about it. I mean, that has to be the number one thing you need to watch as a driver. Not only the walls, but the wrecks here are extremely dangerous with there not being much runoff space. A wall just on the inside of the racing surface that can make for some huge pileups and unavoidable wrecks here at Dover Motor Speedway.
Yeah, that's a very good point too. You've seen it even in the IRL races back in the day with that infamous Jimmy Johnson restart where he lost the transmission from I think the lead or in the top four, and it caused a huge stack up here. But also in the same case as you talked about, this track just not being super big. A lot of the times when there is a pretty massive wreck, there's just not anywhere for these drivers to go. Um, Bristol, I mean Dover, one of these places that they call a self-cleaning track, but still, um, it takes a little bit for those cars to come down the track and rest on the inside out of the way. But definitely a great point with um, how calamity can easily happen here at Dover.
And you noted Jimmy Johnson. Another great Jimmy Johnson moment here at Dover Motor Speedway was his save back in the early 2000s in qualifying. If you remember, he dove all the way off of turn 4, got loose, almost hit the inside wall. Now, the reason that that was such a popular save was because of the width between the inside and outside walls of this track. Again, just proving that this can be an extremely dangerous track.
Yeah, back in the day with that really good save, that was also back in the day before they reconfigured it and it had grass. And that was also really even more impressive because of how slick the grass can be. It made it so impressive for that save to happen just due to him, timing his throttle just right as he was spinning out to, keep control and in a way keep control of the car while spinning out and not hitting anything. So, yeah. Obviously, with the new track configuration, no grass on the inside of the walls, but still something to look out for today at this race.
As we watch Trevor Huff and the 27 of Luke Mahone make their way around the track, Trevor just narrowly avoiding a spun car on the backstretch, almost hitting the inside wall, proving to the viewers how narrow this track is. Now the times we'll expect to see today at the moment are running in the low 23s, with Benjamin A. Walker setting a fast time of a 23.265.
And as you talked about earlier in the show with tire wear, that those times will definitely get very slower if we get a longer green flag run with how these next-gen cars run and just how abrasive the track is here. A lot of the concrete tracks are very abrasive on the tires, so if we do get a green flag run, those times will slow down dramatically.
And not only does the concrete surface really affect the tires, but the tires also affect the concrete surface. As the race goes on, we'll see the bottom groove especially, but also the top groove later on, start to rubber up and give these drivers a little bit more stability.
As you talk about the top and the bottom grooves rubbering up, I mean, you would think with how this is such a short track, there would only be kind of one groove that you can run in, but you can run the bottom. That's more the traditional line that you can run in, but you can definitely kind of, in a way, rip the top, kind of run a little bit higher up, and then arc the corner and get a better exit off the corner. I think that's something you're going to see a lot during the race, to have drivers set up a pass during these little short straights, is to run the top, kind of get a little bit of a more of an arc and try to get underneath the driver in front of them and try to complete that pass.
Absolutely, and you mentioned passing. Passing here almost like a go-kart track with how extremely narrow this course is. I mean, drivers here will have a tough time trying to get around other guys. I think the main factor is going to be passing on these long green flag runs or immediately after the restarts, waiting for the chaos to ensue and just take advantage.
Yeah, I definitely agree. When you're stacked up here and you have these fresh tires, it's probably the best opportune time to try to make something happen. You have fresh tires, and if you're aggressive enough, you could probably make up 2 or 3 spots potentially on these restarts if you can time the runs perfectly and not burn up the tires too much. And like we talked about with the tire wear before, you can make up a bunch of spots on this on the restarts, but also wear those tires out and just lose them all back if we do happen to get a green flag run, a longer one. And so it's going to be a kind of a balance act. Do you want to push hard at the start and potentially lose out at the end if we do get a long run, or do you want to be patient on the short run, kind of keep your stuff safe, and then kind of slowly, methodically work your way through the field?
That balancing act, one of the most important factors of oval racing in general. Strategy playing a huge part, especially in tracks like Dover, as we see will be a great show later on tonight.
With just under 2 minutes left in practice, we're on board right now with Benjamin Walker as he's racing with Trevor Samuel Huff. Trevor had a really good race last week at USA. Just got caught up in some incidents out of his control. Probably want to capitalize on that speed he had from last week and maybe can point his win to victory lane this week.
Well, Huff and Walker are both consistent front runners here in the SRL series. They have the number 1 and 2 times separated by just 3 thousandths. Obviously riding right next to each other right now, along with the number 81 Aaron Schumacher.
As you see right there, just how easily calamity can ensue with just one little mistake. There's not a lot of places for these drivers to go sometimes when wrecks happen, but that just shows that. But with a little over 30 seconds left, I think these drivers are probably going to, maybe make a last-ditch lap to try to, figure out what they need to do for quali, and then we'll start to head our way over to qualifying for this evening's race.
As we saw there, chaos can ensue in just the blink of an eye here at Dover. With it being considered a short track, a mile in length, You know, speeds here are insane compared to your local late model short track, and that can lead to even nastier crashes as we see here in practice.
That's a very good point. With the speeds being a little bit higher, especially with a mistake, it is so hard. It's so much harder to check out at a track like this, just because the speeds are higher. If there's a driver that makes a mistake in front of you, you really have to get out of it and potentially lose a lot of time yourself to give the driver in front of you room to save it without potentially wrecking yourself and that driver in front of you. So, uh, Dover very unique with just how, like as you said, Jason, with how fast you're going here.
As we enter the opening seconds of qualifying, watching the 93 of Benjamin Walker, a favorite to win this race, always fast week in and week out. He did not manage to get the job done last week despite being up front nearly all race, but we'll keep a close eye on him tonight.
Walker very fast, very consistent. I would say just got caught up on some things that were out of his control, and wasn't up there and able to battle for the lead. But we all know that he's very consistent, very fast, almost everywhere we go. So definitely something to watch for to contend for this win.
Now Walker taking a very unique line coming out of turn 4 there. He went high in 3, dipped it all the way down to the apron just to get that extra little speed off of exit. Walker taking the inside line now through 1 and 2 all the way up to the outside wall. Very smooth entry and exit from the 93. Walker besting his practice time with a 23.235 so far. Trevor Huff, again in P2, with a 23.264. It appears the times have started to get a little quicker since practice. Aaron Brown sitting P3, Blaze McKinney P4, and Harrison Chandler P5 as it stands.
Yeah, I'm honestly not surprised that the times are a little bit quicker. Of course, with quali, with only 2 laps, you really have an opportunity to push the car as fast as you can. So, and with the fresh tires, of course, you want to get everything out of these that you can in quali to give yourself the track position at the start of this race to potentially keep out of the calamity that can potentially happen at the start of these races.
We have a solid 22 car field here tonight. It appears 16 cars have set times so far. Some may elect to start from the back as a strategy choice, whether that be to preserve tires or just stay out of early race carnage.
As we watch Sean Rowe try to make his, well, was going to try to make his qualifying laps. Looks like Sean right now is qualified in the P6 spot with a 23.338. Sean Rowe really quick at USA as well. Just had some connection issues at the very early of this race, and kind of had to fight his way back and just wasn't there in time to try to battle for that win.
No, Sean Rowe almost having the comeback of the century last week, too, being, I believe, 13 laps down at one point in our USA International Speedway race, but managing to finish on that lead lap, and overall, a strong performance. Let's hope he can duplicate that tonight.
As I believe we will not see any other drivers try to make a lap. As we see Malachi Drake actually is, eat my own words, try to make his qualifying attempt with a little under a minute left in quali. Let's see what he can do here.
Malachi crossing the line. Let's see, his time is a 23.445, setting himself in the 11th position as it stands so far, right behind Corey Lyles and in front of Jason Alexander.
See him coming out of turn 2 right here. He's gonna out of turn 4. My apologies. As he's going to improve his time up to P4 with a 32.298. Really good lap by Malachi right there.
Only behind the leader by about 500ths there. A strong lap by Malachi. The top 5 here. We have Walker at a 23.235 down to Blaze McKinney at a 23.3 flat. This obviously is a very tight competitive field, but times themselves are not the be-all end-all for winning a race here at Dover.
No, definitely. It's a very long race, and with how short this track is, there's a lot of opportunities to keep yourself in the fight. But with our starting grid, Benjamin Walker is going to be our pole sitter, with Samuel Huff and that number 3 car going to be sitting P2. P3 is going to be Aaron Brown, followed by Malachi Drake, rounding out your top 4. Sitting in P5 is going to be Blaze McKinney and that number 87 Camaro, followed by Harrison Chandler. Sean Rowe sitting in P7, followed by Luke Mahone, is going to be P8. Nicholas Monticelli, I'm probably butchering that, is going to be P9, and Shane Mayatova is going to round out your top 10. Corey Lyles and that number 56 car are going to be P11, and Jason Alexander, P12. P13 is going to be Aaron Shergold, followed by Evan Allen. P15 is going to be Jason Brady, followed by Dominic Marbagallo, that number 17. P17 is going to be Jonathan Legger, followed by Jordan Kuntz, going to be P18. P19 is going to be Yusuf Gailey, followed by Xander Short in the P20 spot. And rounding out your field is going to be Alexander Schumacher, and Joseph Lewis is going to round out your field.
Two cars all vying for the top spot here in Dover, Delaware. A little bit of a confusion, it seems, on getting out of pit road here, but cars rolling, and we're preparing for a great race here in the SRL Cup Series.
And it's still going to be a very exciting race, but right before we go green, I guess we'll take a look at the weather. 78 degrees with a 2-mile-an-hour wind, not really anything, partly cloudy, which will kind of help cool down the track a little bit, but lots of laps for these drivers to make a way towards the front, and we'll get this race started.
160 miles of high-octane action here with Walker pacing the field behind the iRacing pace car as it dips into pit road as we prepare for our first green flag of the race. Through the restart zone, we are green. Walker and Huff both with a nice start. It appears the 08 falling slightly behind as the top 2 cars get a nice lead. The rest of the field, Blaze McKinney following close behind. Now on the tail end of the 3 car, pushing him down the back straightaway.
You saw Huff kind of tucking behind Walker there, kind of when you're on the outside, especially on these cold tires, it puts yourself in a really compromised spot. Did you see him go inside of Walker right here, going into turn 1?
And the 99 of Sean Rowe finding his way on the inside of the 93 of Walker. Sean Rowe vying for that 3rd position there as T. Samuel Huff leads the field. Coming out of turn 4, Walker filing his way towards the inside in front of Malachi Drake.
That just shows how easy it is to lose track position here if you get put in a compromised spot, especially on these cold tires. And if you go to almost any track here in these next-gen cars, cold tires can lead to a lot of freeness in the car, and putting Walker in a bad spot. He just kind of had to give up those spots, but I wouldn't worry about him, fans. You know, he's gonna definitely tighten his seatbelts and make another run at this.
Walker not one to give up easily, not whatsoever, as he sits there in the P4 position. Trevor Huff with a comfortable lead over the rest of the field. The battle for second heating up here with 3 cars looking for that spot. As Sean Rowe looking to dive to the inside of Blaze McKinney, forcing him up the track, but Blaze regains that spot coming out of turn 2, with Walker closing behind both of them through 3 and 4 again. Sean with a beautiful exit off the corner, a run on the 87 car. He takes the top line as the 87 defends. Sean not able to get a move done.
See that 87 car really upset on corner exit right there. It's going to allow Sean to try to get under him a little bit. Sean's going to kind of brake and let him sneak back in right in front of him. But you can definitely see the 87 very upset on exit.
That beautiful chrome and red 87 machine. Still about the same gap to the car in front. Trevor Huff, you know, running some smooth laps here. Obviously, the main thing to keep in concern here at Dover is to stay away from damage. You want to keep those front tires and that front suspension clear of anything that may harm it. 160 laps here at Dover.
Yeah, you make a really good point, Jason. Handling is very, very huge here, especially at Dover, with how unique and how difficult this track is. So giving yourself damage just puts yourself in a really bad spot. As you see Sean Rowe going underneath McKinney again, trying to make him work. But like you said before, damage is something that will really hurt the car, especially at a track like this.
This battle heating up as we see the 93 also closing in, not even a car length separating all 3 of them. Sean Rowe with a little wiggle off of turn 4 there. That could be extremely dangerous if not handled properly, but these cars keeping it clean and looking like we will have a beautiful race.
What a really good battle for this P2 spot, but Sean Rowe, I think, is kind of in a compromised spot. He can't really race Blaze probably the way he wants because he's, as he gets on the apron a little bit, that was scary. But he's kind of in a compromised spot. He can't really race Blaze the way he wants because he's got Benjamin Walker right there that can count on him if he, puts himself in a bad spot.
Position through attrition, one of the main ways drivers love to make spots up just by staying in the right place at the right time. Other drivers' mistakes can lead to a very good scenario for you and your team.
Having some little connection issues, but we got him back. We see Sean still right on the bumper of that number 87 car. We see Benjamin Walker kind of falling off just a little bit, not too much, but I think Walker knows that right now Sean is really trying to get around Blaze and really doesn't have anywhere to put his car, really doesn't need a fight this right now. Probably thinking that Sean will try to burn his stuff up, trying to get around Blaze, and he can get around Sean as the run goes on.
Well, what we saw a lap ago, Sean trying to give Blaze a little bump on the entry of the corner. That was almost a beautiful move. Just try to give Blaze a little too much speed to hold the inside line where Sean could easily capitalize and get the preferred lane over Blaze.
Sean's connection issues is it looked like he had a lot of damage for a second, and but I think his car is fine. But I think right now Sean's faster than Blaze. But as we said once again, it is so hard to pass here. Sean was in a spot, but he actually gave himself in a position. Ooh, Blaze is loose on top in front of him, but it's putting Sean in this position where Benjamin's also putting him in kind of a bad spot right now.
Sean barely getting that bumper under the 87, not being able to get as good an exit as that top line holds out of turn 4. Now this battle is exactly what Trevor Huff wants to see. The gap between Trevor and Blaze approximately a second right now. It was just half a second about 5 laps ago. So as we see a yellow flag on the track for a wreck in the backstretch, 2 cars involved all the way to the inside wall as a third makes it through.
So we're gonna try to find who wrecked out here.
It appears that 10 of Jason Alexander getting a little loose off of the exit of 2, the 18 not being able to check up in time, the 10 slapping the right rear quarter panel of the 54, sending them both around. Minor damage to both cars as the 50 also collects a quarter of the 54, but not race ending for any of these vehicles.
As we're gonna look at a slow-mo of this wreck, it just looks like Jason gets a little bit loose, trying to save it, but the car behind it, like we said before in the pre-race, it's so hard to check up, especially on corner exit, because you're instinctively wanting to get back in the throttle, and it's just so hard to check up for those types of incidences. And 10 gets the side of the 54 of Joseph Daly, driven by Zach Todriff last week, but this is going to be in that number 54 Emery this week. But
Yeah, as you said, extremely hard to check up, especially with a track such as Dover. There are bumps on all of the turns, and a change in speed can upset the car on one of those bumps if you hit it wrong, and ultimately send you around if you're not careful enough.
yeah, definitely, we see some of these cars in the back make their way down pit road. You see Jason on pit road, probably trying to get some damage fixed. See Dominic Barbagallo on pit road. It's like Luke Mahone decided to take his car down pit road. As we
Aiden
look
Walker
at,
finding his way right back to the rear end of the 3 car here, as the starting positions of this race seem to have swapped themselves. Lap, excuse me, lap 19 out of 160.
yeah, with just under 20 laps complete, as we saw right there, Shane Dimantova having a little bit of a issue earlier in the race, just couldn't get to it in time. But unfortunate for Shane, sitting 5 laps down right there. Hopefully he can get that car fixed. A long race to go. Looks like he's the first car a lap down, that our laps down. So if he can get back out there and hope for some cautions, he might be able to get the lucky dog and maybe get some of those laps back.
As we reach the choose cone this time around, when drivers roll onto the front stretch, they can either go high or low depending on their preference. The top 5 here looking to be Trevor Huff, Aiden Walker, Malachi Drake, Jordan Coombs, and Corey Lyles, with Aaron Schugel gaining several positions since the start of the race, up in 6th.
We see Sean Rowe battling for P2. I assume, yeah, him and Blaze decide to go down pit road and I presume take some tires. And so I think those are going to be the first 2, I believe. No, not the first 2. They're going to be some of the front runners for the new tires. So it'll be interesting to see how fast they're going to be compared to these leaders up here.
Both of our front runners, Huff and Walker, elect to take the outside line. So that leaves our front row with Huff, and it appears the 08 is dropping back. Oh, giving the front row to Jordan Kuntz. So our front row will be Huff and Kuntz here. Our second row being Walker and Schugel.
I'm interested to see why everybody opted to take the top and give up the very important track position. But obviously that number 99 car is exactly what he wanted to see. So he's gonna take advantage of that and maybe make a run at this lead.
Lights off on the pace car as we roll around one more time before we hit the green flag.
As you saw in the foreground, the 54 coming off pit road, trying to get some of that damage fixed right before we go green. Yusuf right now currently the last car in the lead lap, sitting in P20. As we get ready to go green, you have to think about the cold tires again and just restarting again. Obviously, we had a good start at the start, but we have some drivers towards the middle of the pack that are going to want to push to try to get past some of these drivers with older tires. So we'll see how that works out.
And cold tires being an issue for these drivers, they can get them upset on corner entry and exit. They're going to have to manage those for a few laps until they get up to race temperatures. As we hit the Geico restart zone with Huff getting a huge jump on the field, then 99 not able to keep par as the 3 and the 93 break away from the pack with Lyles close behind.
You saw that outside really get a huge jump off that restart. Maybe they knew something that I didn't. I assumed that maybe that inside would at least get a little bit more track position, but you saw the top 3 on that outside really get a huge jump on the field.
Trevor and Walker able to almost walk away with the lead here. Both of them extremely talented on this track. As we see Walker closing the gap to just feet behind the 3 car. As Kuntz also able to keep pace with McKinney right behind. On the outside of Kuntz, making a beautiful pass. As he is one more car get right around the 21.
You see Blaze McKinney, like we said, he's on those new Goodyear tires, and he's going to take advantage of them. As he's already...
As we see a wreck in the entry of turn 3, Dominic Barbagallo around multiple cars into each other as a yellow flag waves once again.
I think that wreck starts with the 18 car getting into the wall, I think.
The 18 just losing it off of corner exit there, causing a chain reaction. The 54 getting into the left rear quarter panel of the 17, sending him into both the orange team cars there. Not the ideal scenario for many of these cars. Into the outside wall is one of the worst places you could be early in the race, as that could lead to several minutes of repairs here that will affect your handling and overall top speed.
You see some of those cars trying to sneak their way through on the bottom as Barbagallo slides down, but unfortunately just can't make it through. Like as we talked about in the pre-race, when a wreck happens, there's just not a lot you can go to avoid some of these wrecks, especially at Dover with, like we said, with the self-cleaning track identity. Almost all the tracks slide down the track after they kind of hit the outside wall most of the time. So it's just really hard to predict where to put your car in a spot to get around these wrecks.
Luke Mahone snaking his way through with minimal damage there to his number 27 Doran Designs machine.
As we were watching the replay of that wreck, we saw Benjamin Walker and Samuel Huff take their cars down pit road, which will give Blaze McKinney the race lead.
Blaze McKinney, no stranger to being up front, won that race at USA International last week. Always a title contender in the SRL Cup Series. He finds Xander Short and Sean Rowe directly behind him.
Just behind Sean Rowe, Jason Brady making a quiet run, sitting in P4 right now, putting himself in a really good spot to have a good day.
Just keeping that number 16 Monster Energy machine out of trouble is the only concern he has right now, as it is still early in the race. Just lap 27 out of 160, almost 30 miles run by these cars, with a couple tire changes by some of these guys, only one by others, and we'll see how that strategy plays out as we go on.
As we get ready to see the choose coming by these drivers, we'll see whether Blaze wants to try the inside. We saw the outside work really well on that last restart. We'll see if Blaze saw that and will take advantage of that, or if he's going to try something different and run the inside.
Well, Walker and Huff got a monumental jump at that last restart. Although I assume if you don't have the advantage of such a dramatic jump, the inside line will be the preferred line coming into the turn if you're still side by side. Choose cone this time by coming to the start-finish line. Looks like the 87's diving it low. Second place car follows as Sean Rowe takes the first spot on the top line.
I honestly think which lane is the leader really has the preferred line, because obviously you saw the leaders on that last restart take the top, and the top really went. I'm interested to see whether this bottom will go as good as the top did. Obviously the leader has the choice to go whenever he wants to in that Geico restart zone. So I'm interested to see if the bottom works just as well as the top, and I think so are these drivers. Obviously Blaze taking the inside. It's going to be a big learning experience right here on this restart.
Some of these drivers doing a little snaking, trying to get some heat in those fresh-ish tires before we head green one more time here at Dover Motor Speedway. Hitting the Geico restart zone, and we are green. The 87 getting a jump on the 99 and the 38. Just what he likes to see coming into the turn, taking the outside all the way down to the inside, the preferred racing groove. As it's McKinney, Short, and Rowe, our top three, pulling away from the rest of the pack.
And you see Samuel Huff right there in the P4 spot with just a couple laps fresher tires. I don't think those couple of lap fresher tires are going to matter now, but I'm interested to see if we do go green, if that has a little bit of a better effect towards the end of this run.
Eighth and back, we have some tight 2x2 racing all the way around these turns. Appears the outside line able to keep its pace with the inside. Probably not as good on that right front as they want it to be, but overall an extremely exciting race. The top two appear making their way through the field, pulling away from the third place of Sean Rowe.
It looks like Sean is kind of content just kind of ripping the bottom, not really trying to use up the tires right now. Maybe Sean's trying to tire save a little bit, but you see the top two kind of not really running the very, very bottom. You see them kind of running a lane up and dipping the car down on exit to try to get a better corner exit. Maybe Sean trying to conserve some tires right now, and we'll make a run at them later.
Well, if the leaders are battling too hard and they burn up their stuff, that could easily open the door for Sean to take that first position. The 38 going up and down on the 87. He's really looking for a position there, but 87 not opening any doors so far as he holds on to that number one spot. Oh, 87 loose off of the turn as we see Xander Short get the lead coming into turn one there, barely clearing him and taking the inside. The 87 again looking for his position back with a bumper to the 38 all the way down the back stretch. This is some good racing.
And this isn't the first time we've seen Blaze get really upset on this corner exit. As you see the 38 in the wall now, that's going to allow Blaze to try to get underneath and make this pass for the lead again.
Xander mirror driving there, not wanting to let the 87 by, but slowing himself down in the process, allowing the 99 of Sean Rowe to keep closing in on these top two.
And then battling has really allowed the whole field to catch up. You see the 54 back there down to half a second behind these drivers, and then you see Jordan Kuntz in 5th, even 7th, now 6th behind the lead pack right here.
And that top three, all separated by less than 2 car lengths. This battle for first, though, has been the best we've seen all night. That 38 is not giving anything up on those corners or on the straightaway. It's just a matter of finding the right room to get around that 87 before he closes the door.
And you see that 87 really getting close to that outside wall on exit. It's hopefully Blaze has practiced a lot, and hopefully he doesn't, that's going to be close. I think Xander's loose.
Oh, he pinched the 38 off the corner exit. The 38 not wanting to cause an accident, off the gas and got loose on the corner exit, making a smart move. Still staying straight though, but losing several positions in the process, leading the 99 to be in that second spot, looking for contention on the lead.
You saw before that first caution came out, this was the battle for second, while the number 3 car was in the lead. So Sean Rowe already knows what Blaze is going to do to try to keep this spot.
Top 3 here showing manufacturer parity with Chevy, Toyota, and Ford all lined up together. This being a race for first separated by less than 4/10, with the next car behind Trevor Huff being a second back. As we see the 39 try to find an outside lane around Sean Rowe as he gets the inside, just barely coming into turn 1. He's got a bumper on Sean Rowe.
What a great run for Jordan out here. Kind of a sleeper pick to win this race. Making his way up already, trying to battle for this P2 spot, but I think this is exactly what Blaze wants to see. These two fighting for P2, tearing up their tires. It's going to allow Blaze to either get away or maybe save tires in front of them. But it's also allowing Samuel Huff to kind of slowly make his way into this battle for this podium spot.
Even with this side-by-side action behind Blaze McKinney, he hasn't been able to pull away as much as I'm sure he would have wanted. That fight earlier with the 38 of Xander Short obviously, obviously took a toll on his overall pace here. As we see the 3 of Trevor Huff also begin to close in on this pack, he might have been able to save his tires. Oh, Sean Rowe loose off the corner and blinking out of our screens. He falls back several positions. Yellow flag.
As we see the number 27 of Luke Mahone spun around, heavy damage to that car. Oh no. As we see Luke just get a little loose and overcorrects.
That's a devastating hit for the 27 there. Just a slight amount of slide there. He wants to save that, but turning the wheel too much the other way. Front end catches all the way in, multiple spins around for the 27. Absolutely going to be suspension and motor damage.
Yeah, you can hear the engine blow as he makes that contact in the outside wall, but it's so easy, especially at a slick track like Dover to overcorrect like that. You think you have it saved, and you just feel the front just sink in, and you're kind of along for the ride by then.
If we saw his wheel inputs there, he was starting to have a good correct to that slide, but If you turn that wheel a little too much, once the front end does catch some amount of grip, or the rear end too, you know, that could be ultimately devastating, as we saw there for the number 27 machine.
Yeah, I mean, such a tough break for number 27 car right there. Had a kind of a rough race at USA, getting caught up in a lot of incidences, and obviously now with the blown engine, that's definitely not what he wanted to have happen.
Only 17 cars on the lead lap at the moment, with Mahone, Galley, Brown, Monticelli, and Dementova from 18th to 22nd, all out of the race. Luke Mahone
And
in the infield care center here. Let's talk to him. Luke, that was a extremely hard hit for you there, multiple times around. Obviously, extreme damage to your car. Can you take us through what happened there?
Yeah, this is my first time at this track in IndyCar, and so when I first did practice, thought I was fast, but it turns out I was just like absolutely eating up my tires. So when I'd spun there, I was like on not even 15 lap old tires, and they were just done. So I got a little loose and overcorrected like crazy and slammed into the wall. Might have broken my leg, got a concussion, they said. So yeah, I think I might be out for the next race.
Well, as you've learned the hard way, Dover, as we've said before, an extremely unforgiving racetrack. Just a small mistake, race ending, as Mahone is out before we hit lap 50. Nicholas driving the only BMW in the field tonight. Race not going how you wanted to, I'm assuming. 23 laps down. What are your thoughts on the vehicle? Oh, as we see the pace car leading the field to the green flag just about now. Diving off of turn 4, 87 and 39 leading the back. Or I take that back, the 99, which it appears we have two 99s in the field. Blaze McKinney getting a great jump, the 99 of Jordan Kuntz not having an ideal start, as Trevor Huff takes that second position, Corey Lyles in third.
Trevor capitalizing on the good jump that Blaze had right there, and is gonna position himself in a spot to go chase down that number 87 car for his potential lead.
The battle for third is heating up as we see Jordan Kuntz on the inside of Corey Lyles. Barely any contact there, but Sean Rowe and Aiden Walker both side by side directly behind them. They're 2x2 all the way through the turn.
Yeah, what a great battle. As you see, Blaze and Samuel have kind of gone out to a bit of a gap with the battle for third place kind of heating up. It's allowed those top two to get a little bit of a gap over the rest of the field.
A whole 8 tenths between Trevor Huff and the next car behind him, Jordan Kuntz. Trevor closing the gap dramatically on Blaze McKinney. Looking for the inside, but no dice. Rolling through 3 and 4. Trevor with an amazingly smooth exit and a great run for him so far.
Yeah, Blaze being very consistent right now, just trying to put the car in a place that makes it hard to pass. You saw the 99 try to get past him at one time. You saw the other 99 of Schumacher Rowe try to get past him and another time. And he's just racing the race the way he needs to keep all these drivers behind him.
Yeah, Blaze McKinney just counting down the laps right now as we are on number 53 of 160. He's in the most comfortable spot on the track right now. Clean air in front of him. He can do whatever he wants with his tires. But the pressure from the 3 car behind is going to be a nuisance for him.
Yeah, Samuel Huff is going to get underneath him right here. But he is consistently a top 2, top 3 car everywhere we go. So we'll see if he will clear the 87 right here.
That 213 Simware machine taking the top spot from the 87 after all those laps of trying to get around him. Just managed to find a gap, and now he leads the pack, coming to lap 55.
But he's not giving up yet. I'm still right on that back bumper of that 3 car, almost pushing him down the straight.
And that's just the level of aggression from a lot of these drivers up here, but managing to keep it clean. Racing with respect, but also racing with passion. This number 87 car falling a few car lengths back and being caught by the 21. I'm going to refer to him as the 21 for now, since that's what iRacing lists him as, of Jordan Kuntz.
You see Jordan slowly creeping his way up with Blaze. I think Blaze either is trying to tire save or Blaze burned his stuff up trying to hold him off the best they can, kind of use up his stuff trying to keep this lead, trying to keep this track position. I guess we'll find out. But you see Xander Short going underneath Jordan Kuntz right here for P3. Gonna make that pass.
Xander Short was in contention for the lead earlier on in this race as he's trying to get that back. Seeing a familiar side of the rear bumper of the 87 as he almost clears him on the outside of turn 4, coming into 1 and 2. He is dead even with the 87. 87 is obviously extremely slow, even on the inside, losing so much momentum. His tires are gone.
You can see him slowly just trying his best. You see him pinching that 99 car as much as he can to make it as hard as he can. Ooh, he's loose!
As we talk so much, I'm sorry, go ahead there.
So you can just see how hard he's fighting to keep these cars behind him. He's on the apron trying to keep these guys in front of him.
Things going from bad to worse for Blaze McKinney in that Course car as we talk so much about tires in the pre-race here. Seeing firsthand how much they truly matter here as the 38 has taken the lead from the 3 of Trevor Huff, leading with about a 4/10 gap. Extremely good run for the 38 as he managed to find himself around all the traffic and in this clean air.
Xander is already starting to pull out to a little bit of the lead, almost a little over half a second with that number 3 car. Looks like he's found some pace in that number 38 Camaro. Hopefully, you know, he's got a pretty decent lead now. This is like a really good time for him to maybe try to save tires and not burn his stuff up trying to get away right now, because he can easily, especially at a track like Dover, push a little too hard and then just come right back to the guys behind you. So right now I think what he needs to do is just take it slow, take it easy, make sure he's not overdriving the car, and right now he's in a really good spot.
And this is the area of the race, this long green flag run, that you really do want to take care of those tires. The 38 appearing to do the best job of the field on taking care of those tires. You know, I'd say the most important one on the car at the moment is the right front, as that is what you lean on the most for handling in these tight corners. Obviously, you know, several of these cars getting tight, but also the 87 we saw earlier getting loose. You want to try to get a nice balance of wearing those right fronts and right rears evenly.
Yes, I definitely agree. And Xander with a little bit of a strategy call, I think. I mean, he's got some of the freshest tires in the field, which I think allowed him to drive up through the field and drive away. Samuel Huff right now on almost 40 lap tires versus Xander's 20 lap tires. So definitely you can see how much tire wear is affecting the way these cars are driving right now.
And Walker in third place managing to get around the 16 of Jason Brady. Both of these cars, you know, having a strong run here at Dover, but the 93 just managing to hold on to that position as it's the battle of the energy drinks with Monster and Celsius for that third spot.
You see Jason trying to poke his nose, trying to make something happen. And Jason is on almost 20 lap fresher tires, so you see Walker really high on that corner. It's going to allow Jason to maybe get side by side. Not quite.
Now, if you're on the inside here, as we see the 16 incredibly loose, losing time to the 93. As I was going to say, if you're on the inside here, it's extremely easy with the air off the outside car to lose your rhythm in the turn there. That being apparent in the 16 as he falls multiple tenths behind Walker.
Looking at this lead, Xander already out to almost a 2.5 second lead, doing what he needs to do right now to take control of this race. If this race continues to go green like it looks to be, I mean, he's in a very good place to dominate this race with how much time he's gained on the rest of the field right here.
No doubt about it. His tire saving strategy has worked like a charm here. And those extra seconds leading over Trevor Huff will also give him an advantage if we come to the green flag pit stop point. He will not only... Oh, as we see him slightly loose on the corner exit. Nothing to worry about, though. Still a large gap between him and the second place car. But as I was saying, he not only has a beautiful lead over the second place car, but also that tire saving strategy, if we reach the green flag pit stop, could come in a hand again, and he could extend that lead.
Yeah, definitely, and especially with the almost 3 second gap to P2, it also gives him a lot of wiggle room if he wants to be a conservative in the pits. Obviously, Dover, one of the hardest pair of roads to get into, it can give him a little bit of wiggle room to, you know, be a little bit more conservative, make sure he's not gonna spin the car out, speed in the pits, or anything like that, while the guys behind him have to push as hard as they can to try to make up time.
He's in the most comfortable spot on the track at the moment with cars behind if they want to have any chance. Oh, Walker making a move on the inside around Trevor Huff. Trevor burning his stuff up through the course of this race. But the 38 of Xander Short, he is in an extremely good position if he wants to, you know, kick it back for a few laps, run on a slower pace, but just making sure he keeps his car in one piece. Or if going into pit lane, he wants to use a couple extra yards to slow down, make sure he gets everything all in there, organized and nice. He's got the most amount of options on the track right now out of any of these 22 competitors.
Yeah, so we see the number 3 car kind of, I'm not going to say off pace, but very slower than I'd expect him to be right now. I don't know if, as you mentioned, Jason, him maybe burning his stuff up, or maybe he's trying to do a different strategy, but he was up there you know, comfortably running in P2 and now falling all the way back to P3 with Jason tracking him down as we speak.
Hello.
Nicholas Monticelli, the only BMW in the field here, out of the race, currently 51 laps down. Not how you wanted this night to go. Can you walk us through how your evening's been so far?
Well, you know, we started off, it was P7. We were doing pretty well, and then my wheel disconnected, going off in the 3 and 4. About lap 4. And plowed the wall and destroyed the car.
Technical issues never on your side here. That impact, obviously having an extreme reaction on your car's well-being with engine and suspension damage there. Are you attempting to get back into this race, or are you just gonna sit back and watch the other competitors battle it out?
Yeah, I got back out there for a couple laps already earlier, and I was down horsepower, so it's that's it. It's over for the car, but it's just gonna sit here and watch.
Well, even through these technical difficulties, we still appreciate you coming out and racing the SRL Cup Series here. Thank you, Nicholas, and we'll get back to the race here.
Great, thank you guys.
A tough break to Nicholas right there. I mean, it's happened to all of us with the technical malfunction, a wheel coming unplugged, monitors coming unplugged. I mean, it's happened to the best of us, so it's such a shame for that BMW to be out so early.
A massive gain there in a single lap by Aiden Walker on the 38 of Xander Short. The 38 maybe having problems, but him with an almost 3-second lead earlier in this race, down to just 9/10 now. Walker closing the gap quickly. I wonder what happened to him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very interested to see what has gone on with Xander's car. Xander with almost 20 lap fresher tires, 19 to be exact. I would have thought would have easily been, as we have a spin right in front of the leaders.
Oh no!
Car keeps it on the bottom. I think it will stay green here. But as I said, Walker on 20 lap older tires than Xander and has managed to run him down. I don't know if maybe Xander got in the wall and damaged the car or upset where the handling is, but you see Benjamin right here. Ooh, Xander loose on exit, and I think this is he's gonna allow Walker to take the lead right here.
One small mistake, as we saw earlier with Luke Mahone's 27 car, can cost you the race. Nothing major for the 38 so far, but as we see, even if you get loose just a little bit, that can add an extreme amount of heat in your tires, affect your handling, disrupt your rhythm, and ultimately allow you to get past for the lead, as we see Walker leading the laps now.
As we saw Walker take the lead, you see Alexander Schumacher quietly make his way up in the P2 now, following Walker up through the field. Walker
Xander Short reporting no rear grip, even getting passed by the 3 of Trevor Huff. As we see a new top 3 emerge here with Walker, Shuey, and Huff. Excuse me, Malachi Drake getting around Huff there.
Yeah, this deck just keeps getting shuffled either with strategy or just over-aggression with drivers overusing the car, and now, as you saw with Xander Short, losing spots left and right, all the way back to P5 already. But you see Malachi make his way up to P3 with a little over a second gap to the leader of Benjamin Walker.
One of the orange team cars in the inside wall in the front stretch just moments ago as well. Has not been a strong race for any of that group, but we have kept it green, and this long green flag run is playing itself well for that 93 Celsius Camaro. The 68 of Schumacher, though, also enjoying what he sees right now. He is closing that gap on Walker. Shuey has not been an apparent contender all race, but he's certainly kept it up there and kept it clean. And these are the moments that matter right now, getting it down to less than a car length behind the 93. Lap 89 this time around. He's trying to look for a gap. The 93 sending it high, leaving a large gap open for the 68. They're going to be side by side coming into turn 3 here. Barely a bumper clear off the 68. Walker keeps it in the lead for now.
This is going to be a tough pass for Schumacher to make just because, you know, the tires are worn out. I mean, Schumacher's got 45 lap-old tires, and Walker has 65 lap-old tires. So these cars aren't handling the best, and as long as Walker can kind of keep the outside, I might eat my own words right here, but as long as Walker can kind of get the run off the outside, he should be able to contend right here. But you see Schumacher take the lead from Walker right here.
Speeds going from 165 on the ends of the straights to 139 miles an hour in the corners for Walker. Just a dramatic change of velocity there, and obviously the 139 mile an hour speed limit in the corners there, a lot slower than what he wants right now, as we see Schumacher beginning to pull away and take that top spot.
Schumacher with the freshest tires out of the top 5 right now, with 46 lap-old tires compared to Walker, Drake, Huff, and Chandler with 65 lap-old tires. So you've seen that tire wear really coming to effect right now, and you already see Schumacher gap Walker by a little over half a second here. So tire wear very apparent right here.
Simply on pace alone, the leaders being able to lap most of the field here. Only 9 cars remaining on the lead lap, with Blaze McKinney approximately 14 seconds behind the leader in 9th. Blaze falling back big time from where he was just moments ago in the front of the pack. Also Xander Short, a full 5 seconds behind the leader from where he was even sooner before.
Yeah, everything has really changed since the start of the race. You saw Sean Rowe competing for the lead, and now sitting in 12th, 2 laps down. As I say that, it looks like Sean just went down pit road, which explains maybe him going laps down. So, as we see now, green flag pit stops probably starting to unfold here. As we saw Sean Rowe and Corey Lyles make their first green flag pit stops.
And this is where more strategy starts to come into play, not just your driving style, but also the number of laps in which you decide, oh, Jonathan Ledger locking it up a little bit on the exit of pit road there, keeping it away from the leaders though. But as I was saying, the lap number on which you pit also plays a factor into your race strategy. You can decide to undercut, pit a little earlier, just on the edge of your fuel threshold for making it to wherever you want to make it in this race, which could give you an early advantage with fresher tires, but later on you have to make sure you conserve those things. Or you could overcut, run to the end of your fuel tank until you're just on fumes, and pit for tires then, and hopefully everyone else has burned their stuff out by then.
Yeah, hearing from the drivers that the tire wear has been very abrasive right here. I heard over driver communication that someone's right front was at 0% when they pit in, so that just shows how hard these drivers are pushing and how abrasive this track is on these tires.
And the best drivers will be able to manage all 4 tires with a relatively even wear. The right sides on ovals almost always are going to wear the most, but managing your right front and right rear wear is one of the keys to being fast at tracks such as Dover.
You see Benjamin Walker deciding to take his car down the pit road. There's a bunch of cars in pit road. You see Puff, the 21, the 93, the 28 still in the pit road, deciding to come in here, get some fresh tires, top off on fuel, and make another run.
These cars have to be mindful as well, because if you do have a beautiful run and a beautiful pit stop, if you go just a couple of miles an hour over the pit speed limit, that could give you a green flag penalty, a 30-second hold, and that could potentially end your contention.
Yeah, that's a really great point. You know, you can have a great stop, but if you slip up once and, you know, speed a little bit in the pits, with how short the lap times are, you're easily going probably 2, maybe 3 laps down, serving that penalty, and without some luck on your side, you're probably not contending for a win, and definitely not a win or even a podium.
Walker coming out just behind Schumacher, 2 laps down, now only 1 lap down. As his speeds, we will see 145 miles an hour in the corner, a big increase from the 138 we were seeing at the end of that tire run. Walker gonna strive to get his laps back here. We'll see when Schumacher decides to come down pit road.
Yeah, it looks like the top 3 cars, or top 4 cars, are kind of on that off cycle that pitted on that later caution. So they have about 20-ish lap fresher tires than the rest of the field. So I think they might try to stretch it as much as they can, and I guess they'll be on that off cycle, kind of like an IRL NASCAR, especially like at this last race at Richmond. You saw so many different pit strategies. And for instance, Chris Buescher winning the race just based off of pit strategy, with great crew chiefing and great pit stops and everything else. That's single-handedly how he won this race. So I definitely commend some of these drivers for doing something different, because, I mean, putting yourself in a position to have a different strategy to put you in a position to win.
As we see Alexander Schumacher rolling into his pit box now, right sides up on that number 68 machine. The 29 of Harrison Chandler leading laps for the first time this race. Harrison has not been one of the ones we've looked at all night, but this could play out to a strategy. If we see a yellow here soon enough, you know, that could be detrimental to all the cars who decided to pit early, who are now laps down.
Yeah, Harrison and Jason Brady, the only 2 cars that are on the lead lap right now. Jason 17 seconds behind Jason. I mean, Jason 17 seconds behind Harrison. As
Harrison a lap ahead of the entire field right now. He's going to try to stretch this to as long as he can go on that fuel tank. Harrison playing a different strategy than the rest of the field, but in unpredictable races like this, you know, it could play out in his favor.
Yeah, Harrison looking like he's not overdriving the car. Looks like he's trying to keep it as stable as possible for how bad the car was reported to drive on these little tires. He honestly doesn't look that bad. Obviously, tremendously slower compared to the rest of the field with the new tires. But like I said, I have to commend him for doing something different to try to, you know, you're not going to win the race by just following the leader. So you have to try something different to put yourself in the spot to maybe have an advantage at the end of this race.
Harrison in driver's chat also letting drivers know that he will be staying high when anyone on fresher tires needs to pass him. He's just honestly chilling right now, running his race, and you know, his strategy, in my opinion, is probably not going to end up working out, as we've seen an incredibly clean race for most of tonight. But absolutely, we commend him for trying something different, and that is how some drivers win races.
Yeah, Harrison right now is 66 lap old tires right now, where from everybody that's pitted right now, the oldest lap tires I see right here is from Sean Rowe, which has 20 lap tires. Sean sitting in P6 right now, but Harrison with almost triple the amount of laps that some of these drivers have ran on these new tires. So I'm not sure how far you can go on fuel, but it looks like I presume Harrison's going to try to run this out as long as he can.
If you're looking for wrecks, a largely uneventful race so far tonight, but wrecks are not what oval racing is all about. It's about the strategy, the different lines the drivers are taking, the different driving styles, and ultimately what we're seeing right now, this long green flag run, which could play into one of the best racing we've seen all season in the SRL Cup Series.
Yeah, definitely. Right now, looks like there's a battle for third place between Benjamin Walker and Samuel Huff for the potential probably P2 spot once the pit cycle is complete. Seems like they can't get away from each other this race.
No, Walker and Huff both starting on the front row this event also, and as we see Huff giving him the chrome horn down the front straightaway into turn 1, they're both taking the bottom line, but Huff arcing that slightly more off the exit of the corner and staying on pace with Walker here.
Yeah, with these green flag runs, this is what tends to happen. Everybody kind of gets spread out and kind of starts to run their own race, especially with the long green flag runs. But fierce battle for P3 right now is Huff does have 1 lap older tires, but when it comes down to it, I don't think that's that much of a difference, especially with only 15 laps to run on these tires.
Now, when we saw before the green flag pit stop started rolling out, Huff and Walker were both extremely good at tire saving and closing on the leader late in that run, sitting P3 and P4, excuse me, right now, with Harrison Chandler still managing to stay out. I have no idea how he has kept his fuel running this long or even managed to not spin out on those extremely old tires.
Yeah, Harrison a little under a second slower a lap than the rest of the field. You see Harrison just ran a 24.8, while you see the second place driver, Jordan Kuntz, drive a 23.9. So obviously tremendously slower, but I'm interested to see how far he's willing to stretch or can stretch this fuel I presume he's waiting on. And we'll see where he comes out.
He is holding the entire field a lap down right now, which if a hypothetical caution were to be thrown right now, that would mean that the only car to get his lap back would be Jordan Kuntz on a lucky dog. That could shake up the running order more than we've seen all season, or frankly in any other iRace.
Yeah, that would either force all these drivers to take a wave around or have to pit and stay trapped a lap down. But I believe Harrison commenting that he is going to be pitting this time by, so going to be potentially giving up this lead to come down and take some top off on fuel, get some tires, as you see him come down pit road right now.
Finally pitting after a bold run by that number 29 machine. Harrison Chandler giving up the lead to Jordan Kuntz, who now finds himself back on the lead lap with Walker and Huff following behind.
Yeah, Harrison doing a 76 lap run. I'm astonished that he was able to stretch it that far.
Especially the fact that he seemed to remain stable throughout that whole run. We saw other drivers like Blaze McKinney get loose earlier on into that run, just battling and burning their stuff up. But props to the 29 for being able to manage everything like that. And you know, he will fall further back than most cars at this point in time. But this may play into his favor later on in the race if he manages to stay on this lead lap.
Yeah, I'm very keen to keep an eye on him because obviously now he fell back a lot farther than a lot of these drivers would normally. But it seems like he is going to stay on the lead lap. But once again, he has 25 lap fresher tires than the leaders right here. So, I mean, obviously he's going to be quite a bit, significantly bit faster throughout this whole run now if he can keep this car clean and run steady laps.
And we're just over 3/4 of the way into this race tonight at Dover Motor Speedway. The running order is Jordan Kuntz, P1, Walker 2, Huff 3, Malachi Drake 4, Schumacher 5.
And we know for a fact now that everybody's good on fuel, so that's not going to be an issue. We saw, obviously, Harrison right here run 76 laps, so I'm interested to see how much time he can make up on these drivers. Is like Blaze McKinney in front of him right here has a little under 30 lap older tires than him, so.
Well, as you said, with that 76 lap run, it's obvious to see that many of these drivers are well within that fuel window, but tires could play much more of a factor here as the 29 was starting to slow more than other cars were after hitting that 76 laps. In tight competition, though, in battling one another, it could be possible that those tires wear even more than what we saw, and it could even be more beneficial to pit earlier.
Yeah, so as Harrison pitted, actually cycled out, giving Jordan Kuntz the lead. But you see Benjamin Walker right there, only 4/10 behind them, trying to chase him down for this lead.
Huff, after just about 10 laps to go, being right on the bumper of Walker, being almost 2.5 seconds behind him now. Walker keeping great pace with Jordan Kuntz. And also Harrison Chandler managing to stay on the lead lap after that incredibly long run. He has the freshest tires out of this bunch, 19 seconds behind the leader right now, with low 23s being the quickest times, probably mid 23s to low 24s about now. Harrison may be able to keep his spot on the lead lap.
Right now, Harrison running about 23.7s and Jordan running 24.7, so almost to the dot, a second faster lap than the leaders right now. So we'll see if he has enough time and if he can save tire well enough to maybe try to catch these leaders sitting currently 15 seconds behind the leaders.
Well, we still have 30 laps to go here tonight, so anything can happen as we see Walker getting all the way to the rear end of Kuntz. Walker taking the outside with a major run into one, almost clearing the 21. Walker getting the preferred exit, slightly scraping the wall there, an aggressive line from the 93, but he takes that lead spot.
Walker already pulling away from this 21 car. Already out to a 6/10 of a second, 7/10 of a second, 8. It just keeps growing. And these two are on on the same pit cycle. Benjamin with only 2 lap fresher tires, so either Jordan knows that tire saving is going to be a little bit bigger, or Benjamin just has more pace right now.
Yeah, well, Walker always great at these tire saving races and always great in the next gen in general. He's a Legends car driver in real life, a talented graphic designer, and he's currently leading the race here, lap 133 out of 160.
Right now, look how the green flag pit stops have come about. Um, oh, so we have a caution.
This will shake things up more than anything else this entire race. Walker not happy about this caution as he was pulling away from Kuntz big time with almost a 2.5 second lead. But now anyone has a shot to win this race.
Samuel Huff involved in this wreck. Take a look and see what happened here.
The 3 just getting loose on the corner. He had it straight until he got rammed from behind the 08 and the 82, just getting into the rear of the 3 there, causing a pileup. One of the orange team cars also scraping the front end of Huff. Doesn't appear to be too much aerodynamic damage, but you'll never know with these next-gen cars.
Now you heard Huff. We heard Huff on the radio, not very happy, but saying that he had it saved. But once again, like we've talked about before, it's so hard on exit to check up that much for a car that's that sideways. I mean, there's not much you can really expect the drivers behind you to do when you're that upset. Just a little bit of a mistake by Huff, and then unfortunately just people not being able to check up in time. Bringing out the caution on lap 135.
As we see lead lap cars making their way down pit road, these tires being crucial on the restart here. The 16 electing to stay out, but Walker, Kuntz, Schumacher, all electing to come down pit road this time by.
Someone who probably didn't want to see that either was Harrison. Obviously on that weird off cycle, probably wanted to see this race go green. Had the best tires, probably had a chance to, I guess we'll never know, but at least had a chance to run down the leaders and maybe race for the win just on this different strategy. But now this is going to level out the playing field, allow everybody to get fresh tires again, and have a little 25-lap run.
Well, Harrison on that strategy with his fresh tires nearly had a top 5 locked in the bag. Now everything is up to chance here as we near the next restart. Lap 136 currently out of 160. Not a lot of time left to go in this race, but still enough time for some tire wear to play into effect if people drive their stuff too hard. And Walker leading the field out of pit road. As we see some lap machines beginning to dive their way down. Dominic Barbagallo, an absurd number of laps down. He's the one behind the pace car right now. But as it stands, Walker, Kuntz, Schumacher, Drake, and Chandler in the top 5 finally.
See everybody get sorted out, trying to figure out where we're supposed to be. It looks like there's some lap cars mixed in as well, so everybody's trying to figure out where they need to be lining up. But as we go to lap 138 with 22 to go, sponsored by Track Cams. Once again, probably didn't want to have that little sponsorship plug in under caution, but here we are with 22 to go.
A mere 7 cars currently on the lead lap right now, with Blaze McKinney rounding out that lap 137 group. Corey Lyles, the first car, a lap down in 8th, with Huff also 1 lap down. And the next car is Joseph Lewis, 6 laps down in 10th. Lots of incidents have removed guys from contention, but still, the ones up front are the ones to watch. They've kept their stuff clean this entire event, and this will be certainly a very competitive final few laps. Walker electing to take the top, as the 21 of Jordan Kuntz rolls his way down the inside, with Schumacher behind Kuntz and Drake taking the top there.
We're green.
one last time. Walker leading the field. Kuntz just behind, getting a very good drive in the center of the corner. Catching up to Walker. Walker slaps the wall in the middle of the backstretch, giving Kuntz the opportunity he needs to dive to the inside and take that preferred line. Walker falling back a couple tenths.
And Kuntz is going to get clear. He's going to take this lead. As we have a wreck in the back.
Cautions breed cautions as we see another yellow flag bringing that over the field here. Wreck on the front stretch, which sent Blaze McKinney into the inside wall. Blaze had such a good run going earlier, but it all went to crap now.
Yeah, it just looks like 3 wide, and Huff bouncing off the 16 car and just getting in the Blaze. I mean, Blaze probably can't be too happy. I mean, those 2 lap cars not really racing for anything, and him trying to, you know, get his way through the field, trying to make something out of nothing. So can't be happy with the way that went down.
No, and nobody's fault in specific. I'm sure Huff was surprised by the 16 moving off the wall. I'm sure the 16 was surprised by that sudden 3 wide move. But not ending well for any of those competitors, or not ending well, excuse me, as that front bumper on the 87 machine just disintegrates.
And as you see that Coors Light Chevy Camaro tore up, as he's going to try to take down pit road with a potential race ender. For Blaze right there. Unfortunate. Blaze really quick throughout the race, leading the first, I would say, quarter of the race. Just couldn't put everything together to have to put the whole race together. So fortunate for Blaze, but there's always next week.
But we still have several fast cars lined up here in the top 7 on the lead lap here. Blaze McKinney approximately 12 seconds back from the next car in front of him. But Jordan Kuntz leading the field now in that beautiful number 21/99 machine. I guess we can refer to him as the 99 now that Sean Rowe is a full 25 laps down. But on that last restart there, we saw Walker mirror driving a little too hard, ended up in the wall, and that gave Jordan the chance he needed to strike. Walker going to be a little more mindful of that now, try to regain that lead as we count down the last final laps.
Yeah, this is exactly what Jordan wants, is to be able to lead this field with this few amount of laps to go. So if he can get a good jump, you know, and make the car as wide as he can, it's going to make it really hard for Walker to get around them, at least cleanly. So a good spot for Jordan to be in. Really a good and a good spot for all these drivers on the lead lap. I mean, we have 6 to 7 only that are still on the lead lap, but even a great drive for Malachi right there. Has quite a bit of front end damage right there, but obviously with Dover not you know, aero damage doesn't really affect the car that much. I'm not sure how the car does drive. Well, I guess we'll see on this restart, but still in a great position for him to take advantage of the leaders racing each other or wrecking each other, and can potentially sneak in a win.
And even with aero damage, you can still make it up in those corners if you just have a little bit more talent or tire than the field around you. Coming to the choose cone this time by as the field rolls through turns 3 and 4. Mainly, Walker has been electing to choose the outside up front here in these restarts. Jordan has chosen the inside last time. We'll see how this pans out again. Inside Kuntz, outside Walker.
Drake takes the outside, and Schumacher will take the inside right behind our leader.
So we see Harrison Chandler exactly in the place he wants to be. That extremely long run earlier on in the race has led to him staying on the lead lap, which is Probably the most beneficial thing for any driver at this point, with only 8 cars being on the lead lap. Harrison has a solid shot at finishing in the top 5.
Yeah, definitely. Harrison timed it perfectly, getting out of the pits. I mean, that pit stop had to be the move of the race to keep him in a position to stay on this lead lap to potentially come and battle for a podium, a potential win here. So
those unique strategies in oval races panning out for him. Take it away, Christian, as we almost hit the green here.
As the race leader is going to go into the Gakko restart zone, we are green. Not a really good jump for the leader, as Walker and Kuntz are going to be side by side going into turn 1.
Walker holding his own throughout the entire corner, again into that wall, but still, he has the run and the momentum on the outside there, driving it very deep. Filing right behind Jordan Kuntz as they're separated by just half a car length here at lap 146.
Now with only 15 to go, Kuntz cannot worry about mirror driving. He just got to start running ollie laps, trying to get away from Walker. We know Walker's quick, and we know Walker's going to be there throughout this whole race, so he has to be mistake-free to not even give Walker a chance to make a move at him. So obviously with these cold tires, it's going to be a little bit difficult, but Kuntz cannot be mirror driving like Walker did and give up the lead right here. Right now, this is his race to lose.
Now with these top 2 cars battling here, the lines have to be foot perfection, as we see Kuntz taking about a car width up higher than the bottom line. Walker riding that a little lower, getting all the way to his rear bumper, and not quite catching him through that corner. But both these drivers running very similar times and pulling away by about a half second behind third place of Malachi Drake.
You see Walker almost starting to mimic what Jordan was doing, and kind of running a little bit higher, trying to get a little bit better run off the corner. We'll see if he might try to cut the car to the bottom, like you see right there. Trying to just get some type of a run to try to get on the inside and compromise Jordan's line on entry.
As we're close to just 10 to go here, 10 miles at this Dover Motor Speedway. This surface extremely rubbered in now. Drivers, a little more stability than they had earlier in this run. And as they say, imitation is the most sincere form of flattery, as we see Walker taking nearly the exact same line and diving to the inside, finding a door open on the number 21 of Jordan Kuntz. Walker taking that run all the way down the front stretch as they are side by side, dead even in momentum.
See Kuntz right here trying to run the top, but I don't think he has that much experience doing it. And they're going to be side by side again. Walker not having to run off the top, and Kuntz is going to be clear again.
And when you're on the inside like Walker is, with a car on your outside and slightly in front, that air can wash over you and get you a little upset, tight or loose, depending on track conditions here. But Walker still managing to not lose any ground, as this battle for the lead has not slowed down, as we see Jordan in the wall again. Walker taking that same line, trying to dive to the inside here.
You see Kuntz right there, like running really, really higher than Walker was willing to, but you see him kind of diming it off the corner, trying to make a better run off exit. You see Walker go wide, trying to pinch him up the track. They're going to be side by side.
These two drivers extremely evenly matched, Ford and Chevy here. Both beautiful paint schemes, may I add. Coming to lap 154, as neither of them have given the other any room as they pass the lap number 87 of place.
You see Walker starting to get a little bit impatient. You see him just slowly making a little bit of contact with the number 99 car there, and I think that actually upset his car on exit, and he's going to drop back behind that number 99.
Now that contact wasn't anything major, but still enough to surprise or upset the handling of either one of these cars. Still though, Malachi Drake, he's looking in the third place seat here. He's gained just a little over a tenth in these laps after the restart, but Jordan Kuntz with amazing defensive driving here at Dover, managing to keep Walker behind him. Slightly in the wall again there, but pulling a couple car lengths in front.
Yeah, I think Walker is just trying to take a step back, trying to figure out what do I have to do to get around this 99 car, because Jordan has put all the stops in to keep him behind him, and with just going to 4 to go, coming to the line, he's going to have to try to put in anything he can if he has anything left for Jordan.
And even falling back to the clutches of Malachi Drake now as Walker, he has he has spent all of it trying to find a way around Jordan Kuntz, the second place car, with considerably more tire wear than the first place car, because he is attempting to make all the moves. Jordan is just running his race, and a good race at that, as we are on lap 158 of 160, just a few miles to go.
Kuntz starting to slowly pull away from second and third right here. I think Walker just kind of used this stuff up. I mean, when you're the aggressive trying to get around the car in front of you, you definitely do use up so much more tire than the guy trying to hold you off. I mean, especially here at Dover.
As we see a yellow flag late in this race, this may be overtime, and this may be the break that Walker needed to cool his tires down and try to get back at Jordan Kuntz here. This is green-white checkered, 1 out of 2 attempts.
Yeah, what if a turn of events late in this race? That's exactly what Jordan. That's the polar opposite of what Jordan wanted to see. Gapping the field, had the checkered flag in his sights right there, with only a lap and a half to go in this race. Jordan probably not happy with what just happened there. So we're gonna try to find who wrecked out here in these last couple laps. Seem to have a little bit of issues trying to find what that caution was caused for.
The source of the caution not immediately apparent. This could lead to some disagreements with race control and the drivers here, as we struggle to find the source of the yellow. But this is probably exactly what Walker wanted, as he began to fall back, and now is back in that first position with Malachi Drake second, Harrison Chandler third. Harrison enjoying what he's seeing right now, up in the podium position with just mere laps to go.
As I hear, it might have I'm not sure actually. Well, as we were trying to find this caution, we had the top 2 stay out on the track while everybody else on the lead lap decided to come down and take fresh tires. This is gonna be a game changer for someone like Harrison Chandler, and that's gonna be in P3 on the freshest tires with this green-white checkered.
And those fresher tires could prove the difference between winning and losing here at Dover. We've seen the difference they can make through these green flag pit stops. Other drivers have been able to catch miles on guys on older tires just by pitting a little earlier. But those fresh tires on a restart here late in the race, I don't know if there's going to be enough time for them to really set in and make a difference. But so far, Walker here in the preferred position, leading the field. Everyone else is going to have to try to use their stuff to catch him and pass him.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. I mean, 26 laps for Malachi and Benjamin on those tires, as they're going to go to the choose cone right here at the start-finish line. We'll see if 26 laps was long enough for immediate tire wear to be a thing. But we see Walker taking the inside, Walker taking the outside, Malachi taking the inside, and Harrison taking the outside, and Jordan Kuntz will be second on that inside.
A familiar pattern here as Walker seemed to enjoy that outside on the restarts. It's worked out well for him. He's gotten great jumps on the rest of the field. But if Malachi can get that nose under Walker and hold the inside through the turn, he might be able to prevail. Or perhaps wreck everybody and open this spot up for someone possibly outside the top 5.
And keep an eye on that 29 car of Harrison, starting behind the leader, who's gonna have the restart on here. He could be a huge factor in the end of this race, depending on how these tires are gonna react.
No doubt about it, as the lights on the pace car fading off, pace car dipping into pit road as we reach the blue Geico restart zone at the end of turn 4. Lap 163, overtime restart. We are green again. Walker with a jump on the rest of the field, as we've seen all night, taking that top line, dipping it all the way to the bottom, as we see 3 wide for second place here. The number 29 of Harrison Chandler on that top lane. Malachi Drake falling back. Jordan Kuntz regaining that second position, looking to chase down Aiden Walker.
And here comes Kuntz, already on the inside. He's going to give him a little bit of a tap. It's going to compromise Walker, and here he is, side by side. White flag. Let's see if Kuntz can clear him. Easily clears him.
Now he dove it extremely deep into that corner. You know, those tires have paid off, as we see the 29 even giving Walker a little bit of a push. Walker having to relent since that 29 got the bumper on him, as we see Jordan Kuntz leading the field all the way to the flag.
And Jordan Kuntz is going to win at Dover. What a
Harrison
strategy
Chandler,
call.
an extremely strong run by him. We saw that 70-plus lap run earlier on in the race, leading to a P2 finish. Great points for him. And, well, the man of the night, Jordan Kuntz, that was the story of the night, I'd say. He was early on in the race, not one exactly we were keeping an eye on. Later on in the race, he eventually worked his way up all the way in the top 5 for a majority of that second half, keeping his tires in shape better than the rest of the field, as we see him burn it down on the start-finish line here at Dover.
Yeah, what a strategy call by Jordan and Harrison to give up that track position. I mean, Jordan was the leader when that caution came out, giving up the track position to go down, take 4 fresh tires, and believed in his ability to go back up there and drive and retake that lead. So, great win by Jordan. Obviously, Benjamin Walker probably not unhappy. Had this race won on long run pace, and then those cautions came out late, and unfortunately, just could not get it done at the end of this race.
Jordan seemingly unavailable for an interview so far, but P2 of Harrison Chandler in the waiting room currently. Results as we see.
Yeah, before we interview Jordan, Harrison, we're going to look at our race results for the night. Jordan Kuntz is going to be our winner, as you see here. Harrison Chandler, great run for him, P2. Benjamin Walker rounds out the podium in P3. Alexander Schumacher, great run for him, P4. Corey Lyles, P5. Malachi Drake is going to be P6. Samuel Huff is going to be P7. Jason Brady, P8. Blaze McKinney, after having that huge wreck at the end, is going to scrooge up a P9. And rounding out your top 10 is going to be Jason Alexander. Joseph Lewis is going to be P11. Evan Allen, P12. Jonathan Leager is going to be P13. Dominic Barbagallo, P14. Conroe, P15. Probably not what he wanted to see with the speed he had. P16 is going to be Xander Short. P17, Aaron Schrugel. P18, Shane Dimatova. P19, Luke Mahone. P20 is Yusuf Gailey. And then rounding out the rest of your field is going to be Aaron Brown and Nicholas. And P22. We'll see if we can get Benjamin Walker in the podium waiting room. But until we can get him, we have Harrison Chandler up here with an interview. P2 for you, Harrison.
I don't even know what to say. I mean, good lord. Last minute join, to say the least. I don't know. I don't know what to say. Oh my god. I am just beside myself. I thought it looked like it went. It was alright at the start. Then that first yellow, I got a choose cone penalty, and I had to make alternatives, I guess. Make alternatives to find my way back up to the front, because I'm not usually confident enough to make my way up to the front without risking getting caught up in a wreck. And I mean, by the amount of cars who didn't even not only finish on a lead lap but finish in general, I think I had reason to have that view. But you know, I stayed out all those laps because every single time there's always a yellow. There's always a yellow, and the green flag run does not. The green flag run does not go all the way through. There's always a yellow, so I thought, you know, I'm gonna stay out as long as I could, because I was saving fuel in preparation for that. And of course they don't wreck, but they did after I pit, and then that put me in like 5th, and that last yellow, I took 2, and I survived. Good lord. 0x, I don't know how many laps I led. I have to assume it's like around 18, I think. 17 laps led. That's really decent. Really good, actually. Anyways, special thanks to everyone individually who is, and will believe in me for the unseeable future. My parents, I thank them so much. I've had probably about the worst year and a half of my life mentally when it comes to overall depression and anxiety. It was half a year. I took a half a year hiatus on iRacing, and then I came back for a short time, and then I went about like 4 months, and it wasn't until like probably December of 22 when I finally became I started being regularly on iRacing again, and I'm so glad I'm back on here. And keeping my memories of my dog that I've had for 9 years, Lovey, had bone cancer, had bone cancer for about 4 months. She's unfortunately not here with us anymore. Well, she is in memory, and I'm looking right now at a picture of her with her paw print. Really special, dedicate this to her and my other dog that I've had for about 4 years now. His name's Tank. He's had some sort of brain swelling now, and tomorrow, good thoughts. Hopefully, best case scenario, it's nothing terminal. We're going to the vet tomorrow morning, and hopefully he'll be all right as well. Pulling for him, but overall, a great frickin' race. That was an unbelievable blast.
Yeah,
Well, we're
great
glad
race.
you had fun there, Harrison. We were noting that extremely long run for you in that race, and glad you finally got that podium position that you deserve.
Thank you. I had the All-Star race in the back of my mind for the longest time. That was one of the worst races I've ran in a long time when it comes to leagues, and I felt so embarrassed from my performance in that race. And to come back like this is just a massive relief.
Well, absolutely, and thank you for racing with us tonight. We're gonna interview our leader now, the man who won this race, Jordan Kuntz. Jordan, you got it done tonight at Dover Motor Speedway. How did that feel, man?
It feels great, especially to get my first win with Peak Performance Motorsports. Just happy that I could win. Wasn't the fastest car in the long run, but really got lucky with the last 2 cautions and pulled through on that last lap move.
We saw you and the 93 of Benjamin Walker battling there extremely close for the longest time. I'm sure your heart rate had to be through the roof there. Both of you extremely talented drivers, and you were the guy who managed to just get the job done there.
Honestly, I think it was quite easy being the leader. I knew on the late race cautions it would just be track position and trying to get the lead early on. That's what I tried to do, and I did it successfully. And I knew that if he just went to the bottom every time, it's going to be extremely hard for him to pass, and that I could just hold him down and just pass him back on the outside.
Your strategy certainly playing out this race. Thank you for racing with us, Jordan. Congratulations on the win, and we hope to see you up there in coming weeks.
Do-
Do you have any sponsors, family, anyone watching that you'd like to thank before we let you go?
I think I just want to thank everybody at Peak Performance Motorsport for giving me this great opportunity, and for Denise Designs for painting this great car, this great fast car that won this race, and everyone who watches, you for broadcasting, and my papa for supporting me every step along the way.
Certainly a beautiful car you won in there, but once again, congratulations on the win. You were fast all day, and hope you had fun.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, Jason, really entertaining, really drama-filled race. You know, we had a short run, we had a couple of short runs, we had even a long run throughout this whole race, and got a chance to see a bunch of pit strategies and race strategies work out. But what a race! And like I said, some broken feelings here throughout the race, but obviously some good things with Jordan getting that win there.
No doubt about it. It was a good, clean race all around. Lots of, wrecking action, lots of green flag runs, a good amount of strategy, and, those final few restarts really had your heart pounding. once again, thank you guys for tuning in to Fireball Talks NASCAR. We hope you enjoyed this broadcast, and have a good rest of your evening.